The rain hadn't stopped all night. It came down in sheets, washing the streetlights into soft halos, turning the air cold and heavy. I was halfway through a cup of coffee gone bitter when the knock came, soft, uncertain, like the person on the other side wasn't sure they belonged there anymore. I opened the door, and there she was. Her hair clung to her face, soaked and dark. A small suitcase leaned against her leg, wheels caked in mud. Her eyes, those same brown eyes that once felt like home, lifted to meet mine. For a second she didn't say anything. She just looked at me, trembling, the way people do when they've finally run out of places to go. Then she spoke. Her voice cracked through the sound of rain like a quiet confession. "Is there space left in your bed?" I didn't answer right away. The words hung between us, fragile and impossible, like the first drop of rain before a storm. My throat tightened. Memories flooded back, nights on that same bed, laughter between breaths, arguments that ended in silence. The space she was asking about wasn't just in my bed. It was in my heart, in the parts of me I'd tried to board up after she left. "You shouldn't be here," I almost said. But the words never made it out. Instead, I stepped aside. She hesitated, eyes flickering as if she was waiting for me to change my mind. When I didn't, she took a deep breath and crossed the threshold. The air shifted, the scent of rain, lavender shampoo, and a hint of something familiar I hadn't realized I'd been missing. Drops fell from her coat, pooling on the floor, but I didn't care. She looked around the room, the same walls, the same clock, but everything felt different now. Smaller somehow. "I didn't know where else to go," she whispered. I wanted to say, "You always had here," but my voice refused to cooperate. So I just nodded and closed the door behind her. The sound of the lock clicking echoed louder than thunder. She stood still, dripping and unsure, and I just watched her. Then slowly, I reached out and brushed a strand of wet hair from her cheek. Her eyes closed at my touch, a tiny sigh escaping her lips, the kind that used to follow after, "I missed you." In that small, quiet space, time folded in on itself. The rain outside faded into a soft hum. There was no grand apology, no promise of forever. Just two people, standing in the dim light of a kitchen that had seen too many lonely nights. And in that moment I realized she wasn't asking for a place to sleep. She was asking for a place to belong again. So I whispered, barely audible above the rain, "There's always space." The rain had stopped hours ago, but its scent still lingered through the open window. That damp, nostalgic smell that always reminded me of the night she left. The city outside was alive with faint traffic and laughter, but in here everything felt suspended in quiet. She sat at the edge of the bed, fingers tracing the soft folds of the blanket, the same one she used to steal in the middle of the night, wrapping herself up like a secret I could never keep. The lamp beside her cast a warm, dim glow that caught the shimmer of her hair and the sadness behind her smile. "You redecorated," she said softly, almost to herself. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, trying to read her expression. "I tried to forget," I said, and immediately hated how honest it sounded. She turned, eyes meeting mine, those same eyes that could still undo me without trying. "Did it work?" The question hit harder than I expected. For a moment I thought about lying, about saying I'd moved on, that I'd built something new from the pieces she left behind. But the truth stood there, heavy and breathing between us. I shook my head slowly. "No, not really." She exhaled, a quiet, trembling sound. Her hand reached for the pillow, her fingertips brushing the spot where she used to sleep. "I didn't think it would," she whispered, "because I couldn't either." The air between us tightened. The clock on the wall ticked once, twice, as if time was holding its breath with us. I took a small step forward, then another. The floor creaked softly beneath my weight. I could see the faint rise and fall of her shoulders, the way her chest moved with uneven breaths. She was here, but she felt like a ghost, part memory, part miracle. "What if?" I said quietly, my voice barely holding steady. "You said you wanted to stay forever." She froze, her back still turned to me. I watched her fingers clutch the edge of the blanket, knuckles whitening, like she was trying to keep herself from disappearing. Then she turned slowly. Her eyes glistened, not with the tears of regret, but with something deeper, older. She didn't answer with words. Instead, she slid backward onto the bed, laying down as if she'd never left, her head sinking into the pillow like it remembered her. The movement was gentle, careful, as if she were testing whether the past would still hold her weight. I sat beside her, and for the first time in a long while, I didn't feel the empty space between us. Her hand found mine, tentative at first, then sure. The city outside kept moving, indifferent to the small miracle happening inside this room. But to me, the whole world slowed. In the silence, her thumb brushed over my skin, a whisper of forgiveness, a quiet promise that maybe, just maybe, this time she wasn't here to leave again. And for the first time since she'd walked out years ago, I didn't feel like I was waiting for something to end. I felt like something was finally beginning,